Welcome to Good House 1968. This is Brother White speaking. If you'd like to have a Bible study conducted, you can. Give me a call at 312-925-9887. All right, I'm going to begin with some commercial announcements. La Pete's Academy. If you're interested in attending the Learning Care Group's Academy, give them a call at 877-915-6850. Looking for some phone service for your business, call an 800 number. Call Ring Central at 877-590-6374. Looking to travel?
Call from 800 service.
Looking to travel? Call Skylux Travel
800
at
service.
855-394-1552.
Hello.
Again, that number is 855-394-1552. Skylux Travel. Having trouble with your credit? Need your credit repaired? Go to Credit Repair at 888-855-3560. Looking to attend a college or university? Try the National Education Center at 866-947-9784. Been injured in an automobile accident or work injury accident? Call Stepacher Law Firm at 888-439-3370. Facing foreclosure, finna lose your home? Call Qualified Reverse Leads for a reverse mortgage if you're a senior citizen. 877-288-3715. Interested in communications for your business? Call Jive Communications. 855-450-5337. Looking for small business solution software for your business? Call SOG Software 855-980-3003. Looking for different products to market on the web or through your store? Call Sales Nexus 855-781-1788. All right, that is it for the announcements, commercial announcements, and now I go to the book of Genesis, or Breshith. And it goes to say, sometime later, the word of God came to Abraham in a vision. Don't be afraid, Abram, I am your protector. Your reward will be very great. Abram replied, Good God, what good will your gifts be to me if I continue childless, and Elisha from Damascus inherits my possessions? You haven't given me a child. Abram continued, So someone born in my house will be my heir. But the word of God came to him, This man will not be your heir. No, your heir will be a child from your own body. Then he brought him outside and said, Look up at the sky and count the stars, if you can count them. Your descendants will be that many. He believed in good, and he credited it to him as righteousness. Then he said to him, I am good who brought you out of Ur-Kasdim to give you this land as your possession. He replied, Good God, how am I to know that I will possess it? He answered him, Bring me a 3-year-old cow, a 3-year-old female goat, a 3-year-old ram, a dove, and a young pigeon. He brought him all these, cut the animal in two, and placed the pieces opposite each other. But he didn't cut the birds in half. Birds are prey swooped down on the carcasses, but Abram drove them away. As the sun was about to set, a deep sleep fell on Abram. Horror and great darkness came over him. God said to Abram, "Now know this for certain. Your descendants will be foreigners in a land that is not theirs. They will be slaves and held in oppression there 400 years. But I will also judge that nation, the one that makes them slaves. Afterwards they will leave with many possessions. As for you, you will join your ancestors in peace and be buried at a good old age. Only in the fourth generation will your descendants come back here, because only then will the year ammora be ripe for punishment." After the sun had set and there was a thick darkness, a smoking firepot and a flaming torch appeared, which passed between these animal parts. That day God made a covenant with Abram. "I have given this land to your descendants, from the valley of Egypt to the great river, the Euphrates River, the territory of Kenai and Kenizai and Kadamani, the Hittite, the Perizzai, and the Raphaim, the Amori, the Canaanite, the Girgashite, and the Jebusite." Now Sarah, so this is God that's made a pact with Abraham, to give him a seed, because Abraham complained that he hadn't had a child and that his inheritance would go to someone that wasn't related to him, just one of his servants. It goes to say, now Sarai, Abram's wife, had not borne him a child, but she had an Egyptian slave girl named Hagar. So Sarah said to Abram, "Hear now, God has kept me from having children, so go in and sleep with my slave girl. Maybe I'll be able to have children through her." Abram listened to what Sarai said. It was after Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan that Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar the Egyptian, her slave girl, and gave her to Abram her husband to be his wife. Abram had sexual relations with Hagar and she conceived. But when she became aware that she was pregnant, she looked on her mistress with contempt. Sarai said to Abram, "This outrage being done to me is for your fault. To me is your fault. True, I gave my slave girl to you to sleep with, but when she saw that she was pregnant, she began holding me in contempt. May God decide who is right, I or you." However, Abram answered Sarai, "Look, she's your slave girl. Deal with her as you think fit." Then Sarai treated her so harshly that she ran away from her. The angel of God found her by a spring in the desert, the spring on the road to Shur, and said, "Hagar, Sarai's slave girl, where have you come from, and where are you going?" She answered, "I am running away from my mistress Sarai." The angel of God said to her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her authority." The angel of God said to her, "I will greatly increase your descendants. There will be so many that it will be impossible to count them." The angel of God said to her, "Look, you are pregnant and you will give birth to a son. You are to call him Ishmael." God pays attention, because God has paid attention to your misery. He will be a wild donkey of a man, with his hand against everyone and everyone's hand against him, living his life at odds with all his kinsmen. So she named God who had spoken with her El Roa, God of seeing, because she said, "Have I really seen the one who sees me and stayed alive?" So this is her letting us know it was an angel who appeared to her, which is the perception of her seeing him. She saw the angel. This is why the well has been called Bir Lako Roa, well of the one who lives and sees. It lies between Kadesh and buried. But also there's the conception. With these accounts of them saying they saw God, yet in the beginning, Adam was able to see God because he was perfect. They are near perfection, so if it's not too far into imperfection, you could yet live and see God. So that is the case with that. They could have, instead of seeing an angel, have seen God, as it says, point blank, period, because the scriptures tell itself. So this is what we're to take in, that they saw God and yet lived, and on all accounts, those who saw him were close to perfection. Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the son whom Hagar had born Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram. When Abram was 99 years old, God appeared to Abram and said to him, I am El Shaddai, God Almighty. Walk in my presence and be pure-hearted. I will make my covenant between me and you, and I will increase your numbers greatly. Abram fell on his face, and God continued speaking with him. As for me, this is my covenant with you. You will be the father of many nations. Your name will no longer be Abraham, exalted father, but your name will be Abraham, father of many, because I have made you the father of many nations. I will cause you to be very fruitful. I will make nations of you. Kings will descend from you. So this is good, making a statement to Abram that his name is to be changed because he is to be father of many. He goes to say, I am establishing my covenant between me and you, along with your descendants after generation, as an everlasting covenant to be God for you and for your descendants after you. I will give you, your descendants after you, the land in which you are now foreigners, all the land of Canaan as a permanent possession, and I will be their God. God said to Abraham, As for you, you are to keep my covenant, you and your descendants after you, generation after generation. Here's my covenant which you are to keep. Between me and you, along with your descendants after you, every male among you is to be circumcised. You are to be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin. This will be the sign of the covenant between me and you. Generation after generation, every male among you who is 8 days old is to be circumcised, including slaves born within your household and those brought from a foreigner, not descended from you. The slave born in your house and the person bought with your money must be circumcised. Thus my covenant will be in your flesh as an everlasting covenant. Any uncircumcised male who will not let himself be circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that person will be cut off from his people because he has broken my covenant. So God making an official fleshly covenant with Abraham that his servants, including his own household, are to be circumcised or cut off from them. God said to Abraham, As for Sarai your wife, you are not to call her Sarai mockery. Her name is to be Sarah, princess. I will bless her. Moreover, I will give you a son by her. Truly I will bless her. She will be a mother of nations. Kings of peoples will come from her. At this, Abram fell on his face and laughed. He thought to himself, Will a child be born to a man 100 years old? Will Sarah give birth at 90? Abraham said to God, If only Ishmael could live in your presence. God answered, No, but Sarai, your wife, will bear you a son, and you are to call him Yishak, laughter. I will establish my covenant with him as an everlasting covenant for his descendants after him. But as for Ishmael, I have heard you. I have blessed him. I will make him fruitful and give him many descendants. He will father 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But I will establish my covenant with Yitzchak, whom Sarai will bear to you at this time next year. With that, God finished speaking with Abraham and went up from him. Abraham took Ishmael his son, and all the slaves born in his house, and all who had been bought with his money, every male among the people in Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin that very day, just as God had said to him. Abraham was 99 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael his son was 13 years old when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskins. Abraham and Ishmael his son were circumcised on the same day. And all the men in the household, both slaves born in his house, and those bought with money from a foreigner, were circumcised with him. God appeared to Abraham by the oaks of Mamre as he sat in the entrance to the tent during the heat of the day. He raised his eyes and looked. There in front of him stood 3 men. On seeing them, he ran from the tent to meet them, prostrated himself on the ground, and said, "My Lord, if I have found favor in your sight, please don't leave your servant. Please let me send for some water, so that you can wash your feet. Then rest under the tree, and I will bring a piece of bread. Now that you have come to your servant, refresh yourself before going on." "Very well," they replied, "do what you have said." Abraham hurried into the tent to Sarai and said, "Quickly, 3 measures of best flour, knead it and make cakes." Abram ran to the herd, took a good tender calf, gave it to his servant, who hurried to prepare it. Then he took curds, milk, and the calf which he had prepared, and set it all before the men, and he stood by them under the tree as they ate. They said to him, "Where is Sarai your wife?" He said, "There in the tent." He said, "I will certainly return to you around this time next year, and Sarai your wife will have a son." Sarai heard him from the entrance of the tent behind him. Abram and Sarai were old, advanced in years. Sarai was past the age of childbearing, so Sarai laughed to herself, thinking, "I am old, and so is my Lord. Am I to have pleasure again?" God said to Abram, "Why did Sarah laugh and ask, 'Am I really going to bear a child when I am so old?' Is anything too hard for God? At this time set for it, at the season next year I will return, and Sarah, you will have a son." Sarah denied it, saying, "I didn't either laugh because she was afraid." He said, "Not so, you did laugh." So Sarah lied, but he forgave. God forgives. The men set out from there and looked over toward Sodom, and Abram went with them to see them on their way. God said, "Should I hide from Abram what I am about to do? Inasmuch as Abram is sure to become a great and strong nation, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by him. For I have made myself known to him, so that he will give orders to his children and to his household after him to keep the way of good and to do what is right and just, so that God may bring about for Abraham what he has promised him." God said, "The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great, and their sins so serious, that I will now go down and see whether their deeds warrant the outcry that has reached me. If not, I will know." The men turned away from there and went toward Sodom, but Abram remained standing before God. Abram approached and said, "Will you actually sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Maybe there are 50 righteous people in the city. Will you actually sweep the place away and not forgive it for the sake of 50 righteous who are there? For here it far be it from you to do such a thing, to kill the righteous along with the wicked, so that the righteous and the wicked are treated alike. Far be it from you, shouldn't the judge of all the earth do what is just? Good said, if I find in Sodom 50 who are righteous, then I will forgive the whole place for their sake. Abraham answered, hear now, I who am but dust and ashes have taken it upon myself to speak to God. What if there are 5 less than 50 righteous? He said, I won't destroy it if I find 45 there. He spoke to him yet again, what if 40 are found there? He said, for the sake of the 40 I won't do it. He said, I hope God won't be angry if I speak. What if 30 are found there? He said, I won't do it if I find 30 there. He said, here now I have taken it upon myself to speak to God. What if 20 are found there? He said, for the sake of 20 I won't destroy it. He said, I hope God won't be angry if I speak just once more. What if 10 are found there? He said, for the sake of the 10 I won't destroy it. God went on his way as soon as he had finished speaking to Abram, and Abram returned to his place. The 2 angels came to Sodom that evening. When Lot was sitting at the gate of Sodom, Lot saw them, got up to greet them, and prostrated himself on the ground. He said, here now, my lords, please come over to your servant's house, spend the night, wash your feet, get up early, and go on your way. No, they answered, we'll stay in the square. But he kept pressing them, so they went home with him. And he made them a meal, baking much for their supper, which they ate. But before they could go to bed, the men of the city surrounded the house, young and old, everyone from every neighborhood of Sodom. They called Lot and said to him, where are the men who came to stay with you tonight? Bring them out to us. We want to have sex with them. Lot went out to them and stood in the doorway, closing the door behind him, and said, please, my brothers, don't do such a wicked thing. Look here, I have 2 daughters who are virgins. Please let me bring them out to you, and you can do with them what seems good to you. But don't do anything to these men, since they are guests in my house. Stand back, they replied. This guy came to live here, and now he's decided to play judge. For that we'll deal worse with you than with them. Then they crowded in on Lot in order to get close enough to break down the door. But the men inside reached out their hands, brought Lot into the house to them, and shut the door. Then they struck the men at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they couldn't find the doorway. The men said to Lot, do you have any people here besides yourself, whomever you have in the city? Son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, bring them out of this place, because we are going to destroy it. God has become aware of the great outcry against him, and God has sent us to destroy it. Lot went out and spoke with his son-in-laws who had married daughters and said, get up and leave this place, because God is going to destroy the city. But his son-in-laws didn't take him seriously. When morning came, the angels told Lot to hurry, get up, they said, and take your wife and your daughters, 2 daughters who are here, otherwise you will be swept away in the punishment of the city. But he dallied. So the men took hold of his hand, his wife, and the hands of his 2 daughters. God was being merciful to him, and led them, leaving them outside the city. When they had brought them out, he said, flee for your life, don't look behind you, and don't stop anywhere in the plain, but escape to the hills. Otherwise you will be swept away. Lot said to them, Please no, my lord. Here your servant has already found favor in your sight, and you have shown me even greater mercy by saving my life. But I can't escape to the hills because I am afraid the disaster will overtake me and I will die. Look, there's a town nearby to flee to, and it's a small one. Please let me escape there. Isn't it just a small one? And that way I will stay alive. He replied, All right, I agree to what you have asked. I won't overthrow the city of which you have spoken. Hurry and escape to that place because I can't do anything until you arrive there. For this reason the city was named to Zoar Small. By the time Lot had come to Zoar, the sun had risen over the land. Then God caused sulfur and fire to rain down upon Sodom and Gomorrah from goods out of the sky. He overthrew those cities, the entire plain. So when it says from good out of the sky, good causing good from good out of the sky, this lets us know that good is a spirit and he is everywhere through the powers of his Holy Spirit, or Ruach Hodakosh. He overthrew those cities, the entire plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and everything growing in the ground. But his wife looked back from behind, and she became a column of salt. Abram got up early in the morning, went to the place where he had stood before God, and looked out toward Sodom and Gomorrah, scanning the entire plain. There before him the smoke was rising from the land like smoke from a furnace. But when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham and sent Lot out away from the destruction. When he overthrew the cities in which Lot lived, Lot went up from Zoar and lived in the hills with his 2 daughters, because he was afraid to stay in Zoar. He and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. The firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there isn't a man on earth to come in to us in the manner customary in the world. Come, let's have our father drink wine, then we'll sleep with him, and that way we'll enable our father to have descendants. So they plowed their father with wine that night, and the older one went in and slept with her father. He didn't know when she lay down and when she got up. The following day the older said to the younger, Here I slept last night with my father. Let's make him drink wine again tonight, and you go in and sleep with him, and that way we'll enable our father to have descendants. They plied their father with wine that night also, and the younger one got up and slept with him, and he didn't know when she lay down and when she got up. Thus both the daughters of Lot became pregnant by their father. The older one gave birth to a son and called him Moab. He is the ancestor of Moab to this day. The younger also gave birth to a son. She called him Benamai. He is the ancestor of the people of Ammon to this day. That is my readings for today, and I'm going to say a prayer for you. God, I petition you that you strengthen the brothers and sisters up. God, I pray that you protect them like you protected Lot in Sodom and Gomorrah. I pray that you bless them like you blessed Abraham with the good news, and I pray that you help them to learn it and to grasp it and to do as the commandments say. I pray this in the name of Yeshua. Amen.